Take me to forward. Who's a guy who is worth building your lineup around at this position?
Yeah, so with so many games on the slate, obviously you have plenty of options. I don't actually mind if you want to pay up. Maybe pair Sabonis with Anthony Davis, assuming he plays at 10,400. It feels like he's catching a lot of flack for the Lakers' struggles early on, and maybe part of that is warranted. Obviously, the shooting has been an issue for him, but I actually think he's played pretty well, and I think he's been like the one guy who you could rely on defensively for this team, and that's borne out. When you look at his steals and especially his blocks numbers this season, his rebounding is up as well. So I think assuming if he plays in this game, I do like Anthony Davis at 10-4. Brandon Ingram at 9,200 as well is a name that jumped out to me. He gets a matchup against OKC. Obviously, that is an advantageous one. 50-plus DraftKings points in 3 of his last 5 games. He's really starting to assert himself since he returned from injury a few weeks ago. And then one more name that I'll throw out quickly, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Aaron Gordon, 6,200, quietly having a really, really nice bounce-back season in Denver. And he goes up against Minnesota tonight, the worst rebounding team in the league. They've been that team essentially wire to wire so far. So I think that helps him, give him a pretty decent floor in that matchup tonight.
Garion, no Greek freak. He's in COVID protocol. Could it be a LeBron night?
I mean, it could be. You got to think Dallas. They've been pretty susceptible to interior players so far this season. I think LeBron could definitely be in for a good night. I mean, Davis might also not play. He's questionable. There's a lot of guys out for the Lakers tonight, so I could see it being LeBron night. I'm going to go a little bit cheaper, though. Jae'Sean Tate is an that I'm really interested tonight at $5,800. It's always such a chore to try to remember what exactly the rotations are for the Rockets at this particular moment, but tonight, no Eric Gordon. Christian Wood is questionable. I would be surprised if he plays. And if those two guys are out so far this season, it's not the biggest sample in the world, but Jae'Sean Tate is averaging over 1.3 DraftKings points per minute when those two guys and Jalen Green have been off the court so far in 2021-22. He's just someone who you often forget about, but he's been a very productive DFS asset for about the last 2 seasons. Cleveland's not the best possible matchup you could draw, but if Evan Mobley isn't going to play in this game, and he is also questionable, everyone's questionable tonight. Cleveland's defense obviously suffers a little bit if they're missing their super rookie. So, keep an eye on the status of Mobley, keep an eye on the status of Wood. But I think regardless of how those things fall, Tate's actually a pretty good value.